Do you think you have the knowledge and experience to know the good smells?
One of them is infinite patience with obstinate whippersnappers. I think that was well played.
You did a really good job there.
And as a leader, you have to bring that. Again, it has to come from your soul. It can't be feigned but and I think that's a good wrapper for this Metacast is you need to bring it. Now, it's your style of bringing it. I bring the Bob, so I just bring my own passion and energy. It is what it is. It's too late for me to change it. Josh brings a different style and energy than I do. And every other leader that I know brings their own style. So you have to find your own style, but you would need to bring it. You need to bring you and you need to bring it every day.
Okay.
It's not about the numbers, Josh. It's
about you make don't.
It's the quality of the discourse.
You say that every time you have more than me. You're like, oh, it's not about the numbers. But you're like, but I have more.
But it is.
Entry music. Da, 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 da. It's the Bob and Josh Show.
Metacasters. Topic today is smells. Rank smells, nice smells. Smells of good Agile leadership and the smells of stinky Agile leadership. I've got the good ones, and Josh has the stinky ones, and we'll see where it goes.
Thought of that when I signed up to do
I
the
know,
bad.
I know.
I don't like how this is setting up.
No, and we're just this is our pick 5, and this is our list approach, our list strategy. So you've been here before, so we're just going to be a bouncing ball back and forth, and let that drive the discussion. So I'll start with good smell. My first one is listening. A good smell of leadership is being a really solid listener in multiple formats, listening to in one-on-ones, listening really deeply in anytime you have a one-on-one discussion, listening to what groups are saying. Like if you're attending a sprint review or demo, whatever you want to call it, listening to what the team says, watching body language. There's one developer up on stage who's just sitting there squirming, listening to that, trying to figure out what's up with that. Is that person part of the team, or has the team ostracized them in some way? So deep listening to your peers, seeking, another way of saying it is seeking to understand, not to talk. I actually like that metaphor of seek to understand first, because it forces me really. And part of that listening is asking clarifying questions. Like, what did you mean? Not trick questions, not obnoxious questions, not judgmental questions, but honest to God clarification questions, because you're confused. So no trickiness there, no snide trickiness there. Like you're confused and you want to clarify it, and then listening up to the senior leaders, listening, even if you're in a meeting and you don't have a part to play, and you're zoning out, you're on your phone or you're looking at your laptop, close your laptop, put your phone off to the side and listen to what's going on. So I think that's a good skill.
Yeah. Something I want to highlight there is the clarifying questions. I am sure that whatever you and your team are wrestling with is complex and challenging and has a lot of moving pieces. So it is probably pretty rare that you, your team, whoever it is engaged in a discussion and there's not some complexity. So not only does that clarifying question help you, it likely helps others that maybe aren't as willing or comfortable or confident to speak up. So those are very powerful things to ensure that context is spread throughout the whole team. So agree completely. That is a fantastic one. And it's a nice little segue, Bob, the segue master for us. Canceled one-on-ones. So I have all the bad smells. There's the obvious ones, but I'm trying to bring some ones out that if you're seeing this or maybe you're doing this, you might want to rethink your strategy. So canceling one-on-ones for me is something where that sends a signal. That sends a signal to the team, your team members that, hey, I'd like to pretend you're important, but you're really not, because I'm going to cancel this one-on-one and maybe we'll reschedule it, but it seldom happens. So canceling one-on-ones, that's one thing that is like top of mind for me that I don't do. I want to prioritize those because number one, it's important to me to help grow my teams, but also I want to make sure that those team members know the priority that they have for me, that my job is to help them. And that's kind of hard to help them if I choose to not engage with them on a regular basis.
Yep.
So yes, you could not have one-on-ones, and like that's a whole other issue. But playing the game of, we have one-on-ones, but they always get canceled. And usually it's a last-minute thing. So those are signals to your team of, I haven't really been thinking and prepping about what we're going to talk about for our one-on-one, so you're not really that important. No, I'm just going to cancel it. That's not a good signal to send at all. So that's just one of those things that if you're doing that, stop and think about the damage that you're inadvertently causing. I am sure you have a ton of good reasons for why you have canceled and all that stuff, but you need to have a better reason, which is learning the damage you're potentially doing by those random cancellations. Oh, we have it weekly, I'm going to cancel. No, keep it every time. Prioritize those. Make that happen.
Josh sort of waffled a little bit. He said, just consider this in the very beginning, Metacasters. These are stinky smells. So it's not just, I'll think about it. No, if you're canceling meetings, it stinks. If you're canceling one-on-ones, it sends the wrong message to your team. I'm going to double down and just say it's not just one-on-ones. It's any meeting that you should be engaged with. Your prime directive, everyone listen, every leader listen, your prime directive is your team. That you serve your team. And so you have a responsibility, an obligation to be there for your team in team meetings, one-on-one meetings, etc. I'm not saying you can't, you're ill, right? That's fine. But in general, you need to be there for your teams. When you have all these outside, I have to meet with the CEO. I have to do this. I have to do that. Okay, but your team is team's number one customer. Your team is your number one customer, period. That may not feel right, but it's the right thing. Josh.
Here's a thing that I did the other day that I want everybody here to do. I had a one-on-one with the CEO of the company I'm working with. So effectively, my boss. That was for an hour. Right after that, I had a one-on-one with a member of a team. And we were like at an hour. And we were in a discussion. The CEO and I were talking about something like, hey, I got to go. I got a one-on-one with the team. That was it. Got to go. Like there was no question. There was no nothing. And, of course, because I've chosen to work with this team, like, oh yeah, you definitely need to go do that. All right, cool. We'll catch up. We'll see you later. Right. So that's how you handle it. Right. And if you find a good team, a good CEO, a good executive member, a good VP, whoever you're working with, they should be supportive of that. So it should be a cultural thing.
Oh, man, nailed that. Good job, Josh. My next one, positive. Petunia smells, flower garden smells. My next one for Agile leadership is team building. You're a heck of a team builder. What does that mean? You take hiring. Man, you are a maestro of hiring and diversity hiring. You're a maestro of providing feedback to your team members. You're a maestro of mentoring. Josh and I were talking before this active mentoring. It may be a future episode. You're an active mentor. You sit down in one-on-ones. You try to understand where people want to go, and you actively help them to get there, right? As much as you possibly can. That could be with technical skills. That could be with soft skills. That could be helping them get other mentors, whatever it is. And you're not just doing that with Josh. I'm working with Josh, and he's a superstar candidate. I work with Josh. No, you're working with everyone. You're working with Josh, but you're growing every member of the team. You're growing even the Bob Galen. Even the Bob Galen, you take under your wing and you try to move them forward. So you're a phenomenal conductor of. In fact, that's another prime directive in your mind. My job is to grow this team. My job is to prepare them for the future. That's what I'm trying to do.
Segue Bob here. We are rolling with this. So the term I have for the opposing smell is lingering issues. So often things that linger in your fridge develop a smell. And it's usually not very good.
It's not good.
Yeah. I have 18 and 15-year-old boys, so there's times where I find lingering smells throughout the house. So that's fun. But your team has lingering issues, be it team members that just aren't getting the coaching that they need, aren't being managed up or even potentially managed out. You have just tooling problems, just the same thing. Like the team has adopted their processes to deal with this thing that is just there, and the effort to get it replaced is challenging. So there's all these things that just kind of slow you down over time, and they aren't easy things to resolve. But that's the difference, is that really good leaders dig in and they're active, similar to what Bob was talking about, and attack the hard issues, the challenging things. It's hard to manage someone out or to manage them up and really dig in and do all the things that Bob was saying and help them become the team member that the team needs, or to get a tool replaced because it's going to cost money. We've been spending X amount of money. We want to spend some more. And then you're spending even more money with the effort of replacing the tool and the slowdown your team has. And people just don't want to do with it. They don't want to deal with it. But doing so could really help your team accelerate, be more effective, be happier. That could be a thing that sets them off like a rocket ship. And there's some hard work out there in doing that, just fighting for the money, fighting for the time, fighting for the effort to make that happen. And you just kind of bail on it. You're just like, it's okay, it's good enough, right? There's a lot of good enough things, and all those good enough things pile up, and then they start to linger, and then they start to rot. And then that's where things start to smell bad, and your team just slows down, and then people leave. Just all of the bad things happen when you don't actively participate in the maintenance that an organization needs to continue to grow.
I was thinking there, Josh, like, you don't actively participate in the making of the sausage. I don't know where that came from, but I don't. But so my that was fantastic. I agree with everything you said, and there's a nice interplay so far between our topics. My next one, Metacaster's positive smells, is the uncanny, unique, maybe ability to get shit done. And it's not just any shit. It's cross-functionally. So one of the things that, I'll bring it down to a Scrum team, one of the things that really bugs me at Scrum team is when developers say, I got my part done. It's Test's job to figure it out. For decades, that has annoyed the crap out of me. And I try not to overreact with folks, but it's the same thing in leadership. We got our part done, but I didn't collaborate with marketing, or I didn't collaborate with product effectively enough. So there's product issues, or I didn't effectively. So I'm thinking cross-functionally getting shit done. So it's not just your silo. You have this uncanny or unique understanding of your part in the flow and everyone else's part, and you're a conductor of that. You're an owner of that, and you communicate that to your team. It's not about getting things 95% done. It's about getting them 100% done. Another part of getting shit done is getting it into the hands of clients, getting it into the hands of your customers, removing roadblocks wherever they are. If you're in a big process organization, then there's paperwork to sign off on or whatever. If you're in, sometimes teams can be too picky. They're perfectionists and trying to get to good enough, right? The art of facilitating people to good enough, and not just good enough and feeling crappy about it, but we delivered good enough and we feel good about it, right? In fact, we nailed it, right? So that you could generate that positive momentum. So it's not about just leading to create churn. It's always having that goal of getting shit done. As a side note, you'll keep your job if you're a shit doner, right? In all seriousness, that's how you keep your job. Along with all of the other things we're talking about. Josh, any reactions?
Well, we'll keep the synergy train rolling. Some nice buzzword bingo there. one of the things that I see as a common issue is a smell that is there, but people don't pay enough attention to, is the context and clarity isn't good enough. And usually one of the things that I look for that tells me like, oh yeah, the smell's there, maybe they don't know it, is they have a vision, mission, some core values, but they are just littered with buzzword bingo and no one can recite it. No one knows what they actually are. They're on some like wiki page or Confluence page, or maybe they're on their website, but no one really knows them. So that's one of the things that I really work with companies and teams on is, okay, cool, you have them, but they're not actionable. They don't drive decisions. They don't help you decide what you're going to do. They're just words. A really, really great team, really great organization that helps people get shit done, like Bob talked about, is there's clarity on what we're trying to do, what we're not trying to do. Sometimes that's the biggest answer that helps people get to good enough, is knowing who we are, but more importantly, who we're not going to be. So that way it's easier to say like, oh, we don't need that. That's not us. That's not a problem that we're trying to solve. This is how we're going to solve it. And having that clarity and getting it to where it's a part of decision making. So actionable mission, vision, core values. Hardly any places I've seen, hardly any place that I've come into has those. And so that's one of those things that I'm always getting on leaders' cases about, like, we got to do this. Nah, no, we don't. We got to solve this problem. No, this is one of the core reasons why you have all of these problems, is because it's hard for people to make decisions, really good, really effective and efficient decisions that help teams ship products, get things done, get all those things that Bob talked about. That can't happen because they're doing their best. They're giving everything they have and they're missing, but they don't even know they're missing because they don't have that focus. They don't have that clarity of what we're trying to actually make happen. They're giving everything they have, but they're off a little bit, and it's not their fault. It's your fault as a leader for not providing that context and clarity.
I'm going to go with a good smell is self-awareness. And I'm also going to add egolessness to that, to part of the self-awareness. And I may go political here for just a second, Metacasters, so don't shoot me.
Seatbelts on, everybody. Seatbelts on.
No, but in the United States, we recently elected a non-egoless leader who is obviously it's about him. And I want you to look at that. So it's not about Democrat versus Republican. I'm using our president as a role model, behavior as a role model. So I'm not trying to get you pissed off, but I think he's a really good role model of what it looks like when leadership is about you. And so that's the bad smell. So, and you can really see it. People don't contribute. People are afraid. People are like, oh, I have to kiss up. I can't tell the truth. It's about that. I have to blow smoke. I have to compliment Bob, right? You don't want that as a leader. You want that self-awareness of who am I? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? You want to be really self-aware. You want to be humble. You want to check your ego. Not, I don't know about ego less. We all have egos and we have we want to feed our ego, but in a leadership role, in this good smell, everyone around that leader understands that they have a higher calling than themselves. That calling is organizational success, right? And that's what they care about. They care about organizational results, organizational success. They also care about achieving that with people. So they care about people. And I think that's a compelling smell for an effective Agile leader. Josh?
Yeah. So my last one, similar, we just keep doing this, and so something I want to mention is, to be a really great leader, you have to have a pretty healthy ego, but understanding where and when it's needed is important, because you are actively trying to take a group of people somewhere they haven't been before. And that requires a fair amount of confidence in oneself and direction and everything to make that happen. So you need it, but to Bob's point, you got to be careful with it. So mine is, meetings are quiet. And I want to define what quiet means. It doesn't mean that no one talks. It's just that there's just a handful of speakers, and it's the same speakers over and over again. And I've talked about this before, where that often feels well-intentioned, where maybe there's a team lead or the manager or whatever it is. There's somebody that is attempting to get everybody through the meeting as quickly as possible. And while you get something done, you start to build this dependency on that one person. So if there's not active dialogue, if there's not engaging debate within the team, that's a smell, that's a problem. Yeah. And that happens in a lot of different directions. And often it's done with good intent, right? It's like, hey, we want to get through this list. We want to get it done. And so we can go back and do the things that we need to be doing. Yes, that's important, but there's also an investment that you need to make in those times, in those meetings, to, as we talked about, active mentoring, actively level up people so that everybody else can have thoughts and opinions, and goes back with an understanding of that context and clarity that we talked about. It's harder to get to that context and clarity when things are just being spoken at you. It's just much more challenging to retain that and put that into action than when you get the clarifying questions, when you get the disagreement, when you get the debate and you potentially land on something different. If it's just a handful of people talking, you're either in a bad place or you're on your path to a bad place. So that was my last one. We'll see what Bob has.
Well, I'm going to react to that a little bit. I mean, Metacasters, how do you create that environment? As Josh was talking, I was thinking about in my own leader, like I encourage challenges. I want, and then if someone does it, so how do you build momentum in the space of creating all voices matter? And as a leader, you're encouraging it, and not just encouraging, people responding. So your measurement for success is you're getting feedback. And if someone new chimes up, I've been in an all hands meeting and I ran down to like the third row and high five someone who asked me a really hard question that scared the bejeepers out of me. Now, part of me was buying time by running down there. But a bigger part of me was excited because I wanted to set the tone of that's encouraged, not artificially, right? I don't do that 20 times a meeting, but when I'm like, I have never heard from Josh Anderson is sitting in the third row, and he's a senior developer on one of our teams, and he does great work, but he's never really asked me a hard question. I've never been engaged or any question, and he did, and I'm like high-fiving. I'm like excited about that. I'm youthfully enthusiastic, and I'm sending that message to everyone. So you may not have to do that, but that's how you set the tone. It takes time to create that environment where people believe, oh, that's the culture we have here. Very often you fight against damage, like historical damage or trauma that people have had in other organizations, and set that tone. My final one, Josh, is bringing passion and bringing energy every day as a leader. Now, not when you have COVID. So if you have COVID, stay at home in bed, and then you can get a break that day. But other than that, the leaders who bring passion, and not feigned, it has to be this genuine passion. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be part of this company. I'm excited to be part of this team. I'm excited about our mission and vision. In fact, you're setting mission and vision. Part of your passion and your energy is co-creating a shared vision, a shared view of the future, a shared roadmap with your teams across the organization, across your peers. I want people when they go home with me, and I hear this in my classes sometimes, and it warms my heart a little bit because I'm trying to do that, is I think people look at me like as an older gentleman, and they expect me to be sort of slow and plodding and not very energetic. And I am so gosh darned excited about what I do, and the importance of it, that I can't help myself but get excited. I'm getting excited now. I can't help but get excited about this stuff. This is important. This is central to me and important to me, the Metacast. And as a leader, you have to bring that. Again, it has to come from your soul. It can't be feigned but I think that's a good wrapper for this Metacast is you need to bring it. Now, it's your style of bringing it. I bring the Bob, so I just bring my own passion and energy. It is what it is. It's too late for me to change it. Josh brings a different style and energy than I do. And every other leader that I know brings their own style. So you have to find your own style. It has to be, but you need to bring it. You need to bring you, and you need to bring it every day. Josh, rebuttal?
I don't know how to top that. I mean, it's yes, Bob. Everything Bob said. Hit the rewind button. Listen to the last minute again, and that's going to be better than anything I can say right now. So,
all right, everyone. So that's our top, whatever the number was. It was close to 10. It was close to 10.
Yeah,
10-ish. But it really, I think we nailed the bouncing. And Metacasters, what's cool behind the curtain, Josh and I don't collaborate on these things at all. We just brainstorm our lists and then we dive immediately in. And I think every time we've done this, there's a lot of synergy in the interaction, which I really appreciate. Not 100%, but it's a really interesting sort of bouncing ball. So we hope you enjoy it too.
Yeah, as you said that, what I realized is over these 400 episodes, I've effectively trained Bob. I finally got Bob trained. I got him to where he gets it now. Finally, in case you were wondering.
Thank you.
We now know Bob gets it.
He took me under his wing a long time ago and actively mentored me because he needed active mentoring. And I'm still a work in progress.
That's exactly what's happening here. Yes.
All right. Okay. Metacasters from beautiful downtown Cary, North Carolina.
And beautiful downtown Fuquay Arena, North Carolina.
I'm Bob Galen.
And I'm Josh Anderson.
Big
and big.
Take care, y'all.
All right.